TalkSport, and then go on to Billy from BBC London. And I'll call everyone after that. Are we happy?
Thanks, Chris.
Ollie.
Keith, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
If someone had told you 2 or 3 years ago that you would be heading into this season as a Premier League head coach, how do you think you would have reacted?
2 or 3 years ago, I knew I was ready to be a head coach. Would I have foreseen it being this role at this level? Probably not, realistically. Look, the path I've taken has been very deliberate to get to this stage. 3 years ago, I was assistant manager for the Republic of Ireland in a I don't really like to use the word project, but it was a long part of my coaching journey, 5 years, 21s, and then senior team that I was very, very passionate about, very patriotic, care deeply about Irish football, and I worked with someone that I have a brilliant relationship with, and there was no way I was going to leave that, and then subsequently left to get back into the club rhythm. So the path has been long to get to this point, but to answer your question, no, probably not.
We know that there might be a couple of departures, including Christian Norgaard. Were you aware of those kind of situations before you took the role?
Yeah, I think the way of the footballing world, you always have to expect the interest in good players. I think that's just natural. The way this football club has worked, it's never really been a problem. Players come and players go. That's just the nature of it. Ultimately, I want the best possible players in the building, and we've got phenomenal players in the building that we will continue to improve and develop, and what will be on that front.
And you'll be sorting out your backroom staff. There's a vacancy now for a set piece.
Yeah.
Are you going to hire a new one?
I got asked before, do we employ one? That would be quite revolutionary. I would suggest not to go one. Yeah, we will do that in due course. Yeah, for sure.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Billy. Billy from BBC London. Nice to meet you, Keith. What sort of manager are you going to be? I'm fascinated by the fact that you're now going to become world famous. I hope you're ready for that. Is this the best, watched league in the world? I'm wondering how you're going to present yourself, what you're going to wear, whether or not you're going to be a track-suited coach, a Pep Guardiola groovy gaffer, or a Sean Dyche kind of character, and how that represents what sort of coach you're going to be. What kind of coach do you want us to see?
I'll be me. I'll be authentic. I'll be who I am on a daily basis. That won't change in terms of how I deal with people on a daily basis, regardless of the role that I'm in. Obviously, the responsibilities are very different to the role I've just had. Very pressurised. Need brilliant people around me, which I have got, and we will add to that. But yeah, I won't try and emulate anybody. Got a lot of respect for those names that you mentioned, and I've taken a lot from a lot of people on the journey that I've been on, but I'll be me.
That's a great answer. Can I ask Phil, a lot of fans were thinking that there would be a promotion from within. It's the Brentford way. Keith knows the players, obviously, but that, as Ollie suggested, leaves 4 roles unfilled. If Keith was part of the master plan when Thomas went, have you got a master plan to fill those roles? How are you going to do that?
We've got a plan. I don't know if it's a master plan. It's definitely a plan. No, we've got 4 roles to fill. I think what we'll do is we'll go for 1 or 2 to begin with, and then we'll get that working, and we'll take a step back and we'll see how that's going. The set piece one you already mentioned is an important one. We've always had that. And obviously we're looking for coaches who, again, top coaches now who can go on and develop. That's, as you say, it's always been the Brentford way. Let's see who
promoted from within.
We're looking at it again. Yeah, we're looking at all options on the table, external, internal. Exactly when we did the process for Keith, external, internal, and we'll make a decision. Won't hopefully be in the next. Well, hopefully we'll get something, maybe 1 or 2 done this week potentially.
Thanks very much, gents. Good luck.
Thanks, Billy. Cheers.
Go to Ruben next from PA.
Hi Keith, nice to meet you. I was just asking if, because it's a new experience for you, do you have sort of assurances from the club to sort of give you a bit of time and to bed in, because obviously the Premier League is the hardest league in the world?
No assurances. Listen, I think the reality is it's a football club that's been built in a certain way and has certain ways that they do things which aren't always the norm. The support, if I look at Thomas as an obvious case, that he received throughout his tenure was nothing but impeccable. The relationships that Thomas built up with Phil, Matt, and all the staff around that was very, very connected and aligned. And I don't see that being any different, really.
And did Thomas speak to you in the last sort of weeks about wishing you luck and any advice?
Yeah, listen, we've both been pretty busy. But we did speak the other day. Thomas is someone I obviously have a lot of admiration for and respect for. Built up a really, really good professional relationship, but also a personal relationship, and that will certainly continue. So we'll catch up properly when it calms down a little bit. Thank you.
Dan from Haters next, please.
Hi, just a question for Phil. I think you touched on it in an interview already, but do you expect Christian Norgaard to leave this summer? I
think it's more likely than not. Yeah, I think it's pretty well documented exactly who's interested. So yeah, listen, if he ends up leaving and he goes to a club that perhaps has more opportunity to win things than we do, and it's towards the end of his career, I think he's earned it because he's been an unbelievable player for us. Fantastic 6 years, great captain, and a brilliant person. So listen, nothing's done as it stands, but I think it's certainly a strong possibility.
Keith, just on that, I mean, how difficult will it be to replace what Norgaard's brought to this Brentford team for the last few years if he does go?
Yeah, just to echo what Phil said, I think Christian's been a really, really big player for this football club. I seen it firsthand last year, obviously primarily in a set-piece capacity, how he led, his qualities as a footballer, but probably more importantly as a person. I think he's a top human being. I really believe that. And will it be hard to emulate? Yeah, probably. But it's opportunities for others, and that I know that will take the opportunity in the building. Thank you.
Sam from the Standard next, please. Hi, Sam.
This is Phil Giles. It's to do with the appointment. Obviously, this is something you've thought about, planned for. I wondered what those conversations look like in terms of getting to the decision to appoint Keith as the head coach.
Yeah, so obviously we had a little bit of a kind of an advance warning that, Thomas going to Tottenham was probably going to happen, or that was the direction of travel. So that gave us a bit of time to have a little think and decide how we'd run a process. Clearly, we wanted to speak to, as I've mentioned already, internal people first. It's always been the way of the club. First question, can we appoint from within? Spoke with Keith pretty early in that process, and he made a very strong impression. But wanted to complete the process and have that other conversations with external candidates as well. So once we got to the end of that process, Keith set a very high bar. With the added advantage of things like he knows the players already, he knows how we play, he has strong ideas on how that we want to develop that, and the staff like him and respect him. So that's lots of boxes ticked. So it ended up being a relatively straightforward decision in the end.
He's had multiple sort of coaching roles. I wondered what you took from all of those coaching roles that really impressed you about him.
I think. Yeah, not specifically looking at specific roles outside. I mean, Keith's been an assistant to, in national level, obviously Premier League with Sheffield United in that season before we came here. I think what impressed me more was the fact he actually wanted to come here and be a set-piece coach, because not many people would have done that. Most people would have maybe looked at that as a set-piece coaches are very important, but perhaps looked at it differently as being an assistant, a named assistant. Keith just saw an opportunity to come in, learn that to even more detail than he'd done it before, when he'd done it previously in his previous roles, and come into a good environment and be part of Thomas's staff. I think that was certainly impressive, because not everyone necessarily would have made that step.
Yeah, 100%. And then finally, Keith, what do you like most about this squad? I mean, it's a promising squad. They finished 10th last season.
Yeah, I like a lot about it. I like the potential. I think all of our players are very coachable. There's a real desire to want to get better, which again aligns to the way I think and the way the club has been built on for numerous years. There's a hunger in the squad, I would suggest, individual ambitions, but a real understanding of the collective, which I don't think you get in every environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Jack from Favell will go to next. Thank you.
Hi, Keith.
Hey,
Firstly, nice to meet you. Secondly, congratulations on getting the job. Thirdly, it's been spoken about already about having to build a new coaching team to support you. As you go on a maiden voyage as a coach, what qualities and credentials would you like to have as part of your Backroom Staff?
Yeah, really clear on that. spoke a lot about it. Spoke about it in the initial discussions, even going as far back as that. For me, there's two aspects to it. One is the skill sets. You need to bring something where you are the top of your game, that you can provide expertise in terms of whatever role that is that we see, that fits into the dynamics of the rest of the coaching staff. And the other is the person. Personal values are really important to me in terms of how you carry yourself. Again, aligned to the football club was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to come to the club, because I felt it would be something like this, and it certainly proved to be the case. So it's twofold.
Okay. On to Phil. Brentford's recruitment's well known in terms of coaches and players, how you've got a great big database and you know what it is. When it comes to actually appointing a backroom team, and perhaps the information's not quite there, how do you go about that process? Is it similar, or do you have a completely different way of going about it?
It's different to players. I mean, it's not everything requires a database to be able to make a decision on it. I think with coaching stuff, and obviously we've been through that a lot recently, you need to get out there and speak to as many people as possible. You know, other staff who worked with a coach, players who worked with that coach, people who've maybe been in charge of that coach in the past, and get a real good insight into how into what they do, what makes them strong, where maybe the weaker points are, if there are any. I think that's best done by using a network and getting out there and having conversations. I think data for coaching it's pretty tricky. So you can have a successful head coach, but what made them successful? Were they a great coach? Did they have a great crop of academy players come through? Did they get a bit lucky in recruitment? Did they have loads of money from a new owner? There's lots and lots of reasons, and it's very hard. Did they have a great assistant who did a lot of the work? That can happen as well. So I think it's quite hard to really identify it. You've got to go and speak to people who've done that and work with them.
And back to Keith. I just wanted to ask you about the interview process, because obviously Brentford are very meticulous in how they do their due diligence. What was it like for you, and what sort of stages did you have to go for it, and what did you have to prepare?
Just a presentation basically around where I see the team and how it can improve. I think in essence, that was the initial discussion, I suppose. And from that, a couple more discussions around it. So obviously that was delved into pretty deeply.
You'd been interviewing for 12 months, so...
Lovely, thank you.
Cheers.
Paul from the Hounslow Herald, if we've got anything.
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of my questions have kind of been already asked, but it's really refreshing to see a Premiership club recruit from within. And hats off to you for that. I think it's really something to sort of take note. But just a quick one, given the legacy Thomas Franks had, obviously he was assistant, etc., how much of it is a kind of, and forgive me if this may be a little flippant, but is it a kind of, it's not broken, don't need to fix it, but at the same time you've got carte blanche to do what you want, do you know what I mean? So I was just wondering how you feel about the legacy of Frank and how that's going to impact on your new season.
Yeah, look, I'm so respectful of Thomas, like I really am. I was respectful before I came to the building, so obviously I'm going to be even more respectful having worked with him for 12 months. I think I go back to one of the questions. I have to be me, and as part of me being me and very authentic is doing my due diligence, really understanding all the individuals in the building. I'm a big fan of coaches playing to the strengths of the personnel that they have in front of them, rather than fixating on what they ideally want to play like. I love the way our team has played for numerous years. I love the individuals. I love the capabilities and the potential that we have got in the building. So it's just about progressing that, really.
Yeah, great. All the best.
Thank you.
Can I say on the point about being refreshing to promote from within? Liverpool used to do it for 30 years when they were the best team around, and it worked for them. Yeah. I'm not sure when it fell out of fashion. Why? If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us.
Okay, so we're now done with the section under immediate embargo. If cameras can go off, please.